Good morning. Good morning, dear dreamers and seekers and sacred mischief makers. Welcome, welcome. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. You're going to love it. Oh, yes, you're going to love it. So, my friends, today, as we begin our new monthly theme of imagination, we are going to do things a little differently. And that's one of the gifts of being a Unitarian Universalist. We're not constrained to one way of doing things, or believing, or being. We can use our imagination and change things up as inspiration strikes us. Are you with me? Yes! So today, I invite you to think of this very room as a portal. By simply opening your hearts and softening the edges of disbelief, you can step into a space where anything is possible. Where justice is painted in brilliant colors, where kindness floats like bubbles, and love, oh yes, love grows like wild vines in spring, dripping with chocolate. So think of me and your fellow Oompa Loompas today as your tour guides through a wonderful world of imagination.
Is this like that weird dream I had?
It might be. And you can call me Reverend Wonka if you like. So together we're going to stir the pot of the possible. We're going to infuse it with a dash of daring and a whole lot of joy. So today we won't just gather for a normal service. We are going to wonder. We won't just reflect, we'll imagine. And if you're new to Chalice today, well, welcome! Today is a unique flight of fantasy, different than our usual fare. And if you've been coming for a while, hold on to your hats or your wig, because this is going to be a wild ride. I have no idea what's going to happen today, and nor do most of you, I think. But I assure you this, it's going to be a time infused with magic, with mystery, and with imagination. So let yourselves be taken on this ride to imagine the impossible. And let's begin where all good stories begin, with a light in the dark, a spark of truth, a flicker of faith. Let us light our chalice.
Like in Zelda?
Thank you, Reverend Wonka. We will now light this chalice, the flame of this chalice, for the light within and the light without. For the light within each of us, for the light of sun, stars, and moon, and the fire that shine on all living beings. For the light of hope, inclusion, and love. For the spark of imagination that lights a path to a better way, here and now. That is Chloe, who lit the chalice, and now her sister Scarlett is going to play the rain stick with me as I play a tone drum for a few moments while we recognize and enjoy that light within each of us.
All around the Rabbit Valley, some people gathered on Sunday. They laughed, they sang, they filled up with joy. Ha! It must be Chalice. I've been pondering. Ponder, ponder, ponder. I've been pondering magic. I've been pondering what if. And perhaps I might enjoy pondering the magic of what if. To create a what if, you need a generous helping of curiosity, several scoops of daring, and a sparkly sprinkle of whimsy. Blend them up, put them in the easy bake oven that is your imagination, and voila! You all have an imagination, right? Of course you do! Understandably, imaginations do get misplaced. But if you are willing to look up, down, sideways, diagonally, and all around, well then you too can create your very own what if. What if? What if dinosaurs ruled the planet?
Yay! I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
What if a person named Rosa Parks said, no, I will not move to the back of the bus?
That's a real thing.
That is a real thing.
What if Zelda was real?
Imagine,
Yay!
imagine
And then it would be
a
done
place where every person were afforded the dignity to sit wherever they choose. What if
Wait,
a
how many
person
people want?
named Harvey Milk,
Who's that?
he ran for office and he proudly proclaimed, yes, I am gay. Imagine every position in civic leadership represented every single person in the land. Hallelujah. What if a young person named Greta Thunberg stood before all the nations and shouted, our house is on fire? Imagine a world where thousands upon thousands of people came together in action to help and protect this planet. What if young friends, bringers of magic, givers of inspiration, what might be your what if? What might be a dream that you have for a better, brighter future? I see a hand, a very eager hand. What is your thought, idea of a better, brighter future? Is it
People brought dinosaurs back and Zelda came alive, but that might be a torment.
imagination bears many fruits? What is your idea of a better, brighter future?
If cars could fly.
If cars could fly, what is your idea for a better, brighter future?
Every single house had more than 1 billion books.
More than 1 billion books and not a single one banned. Yes, what is your idea?
If more people walked and biked so that no more gasoline would be released.
Oh, I see a hand.
If you could imagine anything that would come to real.
If you could imagine anything that could be made real. Yes, anything can come to be real.
If there was no trash in the world.
No trash. I'm going to have one more dream.
No killing animals.
No killing animals.
Yeah. Oh.
You have one more. Okay, one more. There's always one more. Always. Yes.
Mini Man, Tiny Man, and Small All Man were real.
And you're looking at Mini Man right now.
If all superheroes were real, what a beautiful, safe, colorful world it would be. Aren't they superheroes? You know what? Everyone deserves to be real. Everyone deserves to be real. What if? Those what ifs are magical. I hope you all were listening. I hope you all keep listening. I hope your imagination has been sparked and that you get to grow your own what ifs. I dream of a world, I think those thoughts are better shared by our young friends. S1 Harmony, do you have a way the world can be imagined?
Well, my friends, how beautiful to imagine such a magical world together. And now we will imagine a world where everybody has enough with our manna collection. And if our children would help collect food for those who need it, please hold it up in the air if you have some food, and you can bring it over there to our manna collection. And if you have food in the lounge, please come here now. And anyone seeking a seat in the main sanctuary can come here now too and find a space. Also, if you've not yet had a chance to write your joys or concerns on the cards in the foyer, you may pick one up now and drop it in the basket. And those of you in the lounge, we have plenty of space now in here if you want to join us for the rest of the service. And today I want to invite those of you who've signed up for our gratitude circle. Today at noon in the sanctuary, we'll be sharing an hour and a half focused on grateful living together. We look forward to seeing you then. So let us now sing our children out with a lamp of love, guiding our children into their sacred spaces beyond these walls. Please join us now as we sing together.
May the lamp of light and peace guide you on your way. May it hold you, may it hold you, may it hold you in our love, may it hold you in our love, each and every day.
Hello, Chalice. Hi. So, imagine with me for a moment. What if generosity was more than just a transaction? What if every coin, every dollar, every act of giving was actually a spell cast to bring more love, more justice, more healing into the world? Today, we're not just passing plates, we're passing potential. As the music plays, you are invited to offer not only your donation, but a dream. Now, how many of you saw a pen and piece of paper on your seat when you came in today? Yes. Okay. If you've misplaced them, maybe use a nice little transaction sheet from your checkbook. Just a thought. Just a thought. I know, I'm. That's the way I roll. So, on your seats, you'll find a little sheet of paper and a pen. What I'd like you to do is on them write one hope that you have either for our world or for this congregation, no matter how wild or how wondrous. Now, once you do that, you will drop that little sheet of paper into the offering bag or basket along with your gift, and let your generosity be laced with magic. For those of you online, type your dream in the chat or simply hold it in your heart as you give using the link provided. Let us give generously, dream boldly, and build the world we long for together. Thank you, everyone, for sharing both your dreams and your treasure.
Thank you. Isn't it amazing that we can create the world? We actually have the power to create magic in this world, as long as we keep believing and imagining. And my friends, your wishes are going to resurface in the service 2 weeks from now, a service called Dream. So be sure to come and hear some of the dreams that you have shared for the world. So as we enter our time of joys and sorrows today, I invite you to imagine something a little different. What if we didn't need to carry our stories all alone? What if the first step to healing was simply being heard? So today we begin with each other. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to turn to someone near you, or to two people if you prefer, and quietly share one small joy and one sorrow that's on your heart. You don't have to explain, you don't have to fix, you don't have to respond, just witness. And when each person is complete, I invite you to simply say, I hear you, I see you. Repeat after me, I hear you, I see you. So one person's going to share, and the people listening are then going to say, I hear you and I see you, and then you're going to switch. So let's take about 90 seconds now for this sacred neighbor sharing. Find someone near you to share your joy and sorrow.
No, that was Friday night. My favorite artist. My second favorite. She sang some notes that make me very. She sings this really high. And then for songs, I wish Fry was better. Really? He should be the show beautiful. Once I get the money.
If you could bring your sharing to a close now. Thank you for sharing yourselves with one another. And now I will read aloud a few joys and sorrows that have been submitted this week or handed in this morning. From Therese. Are you here, Therese? There you are, Therese. It's been a year plus 1 month of selfless, generous, thoughtful kindness from our beloved Chalice folks who volunteered rides to and from weekly antidepressant treatments. These rides are between Camarillo and Oxnard, and their gifts have helped to keep my head above water, and many people notice the distinct differences in my demeanor between before, in hopeless depths of despair, and during treatments. You can see my smile. So glad for you, Therese. So glad. And Therese would like these 9 amazingly generous people who are here to stand if they are comfortable or raise their hand on Zoom so we can give them a round of applause. And we have Barb Gardner, Vanessa Otto, Annie Barker, Sylvia Hutchins, B. Latterbeck, Claudia and Rick Barton, Joanne Van Reenen, Birgit Gross, and Michael Bouilly. And hopefully everyone was listed there. See, this is the magic of community. We help each other. And Therese invites us, if you'd care to give these kind people a break for all that driving, please do contact her, and she'll forward the schedule going forth. I'm so glad you've been supported, Therese, over this last year. And then Sharon and Greg Raver-Lampman write, welcome their new rescue dog, Cooper. He's adjusting beautifully. How wonderful. What a great joy. And Laurie Oberlander writes, she's giving thanks for the joy Katie and her beautiful children, the Aswan Harmony Choir, bring to our imaginations. Absolutely. And then a sorrow from Chuck Fernald. Anne Partington, mother of April Fernald, has been in Los Robles Hospital since Monday. So sorry to hear that, Chuck and April. There you are. Each day we expect her to be released, but not yet. Oh, we hold her in our hearts. I know she's much loved and she's been here with us many times, and we hold your whole family in our hearts and hope she recovers well. And I wanted to share a joy. I had an incredible day of imagination, music, singing yesterday with one of my musical heroines, Karen Drucker, and she came and led a workshop here in Thousand Oaks. We often sing her music here, and I asked her whether we could sing her music at Chalice, and she said anytime. And she said I should just write to her and she'll send me all the sheet music and we can sing lots of her joyful, beautiful songs that you will recognize here today. So that was a great joy. So my friends, we hold all these joys and concerns in the heart of this beloved community. And as the music plays now, you're invited to come forward and place your stone in our spiral of life for your unspoken joys and sorrows. And for those online, feel free to write in the chat and we will place a stone on your behalf. So please come forward now as the music plays. Pure imagination and joy, Torkel. Thank you. My friends, may we remember always our hearts are big enough to hold both joy and sorrow together. And as a community, we can carry each other through all life brings. May it be so. And now I invite you to drop into a poem by one of our favorite magical poets, Rosemary Watola Trommer, called A Prayer for Imagination. There are so many boundaries in me, so many limitations, prisons, places where a line has been drawn, perhaps by another, perhaps by me. The lines say stop. The lines say don't be curious. They say make yourself small, now smaller. But imagination is the big pink eraser that rubs out the lines, smears and disappears them. Sometimes it's more like a tear, a tear, a small rip in the known that bids me look through the lines as if peeking through a curtain. And sometimes the imagination takes a line and bends it, twists it, like a clown with a balloon, until what I thought was a boundary becomes bird, becomes crown, becomes flower. Or it turns the line perpendicular, so what I thought was a dead line becomes a path. I want to listen for the voices beyond the boundaries. Want to open to what I can't yet see. I want to hear the welcome of the horizon. And like a bell calling me home, let it lead me. My friends, may we open to imagination and let it create new horizons for us as we go forward.
Robin Williams said, "You're only given a small spark of madness, and you mustn't lose it." Let us take a moment to share what we dare to imagine as the world we create in our inner mind, to care and feeding of our soul. I invite you to still your body and mind as you take a series of deep breaths. During this time of silence, I invite you to focus on breathing in and out as you pause life, but for a moment. The chime will mark the beginning and the end of our silence.
So this morning, in lieu of a meditation hymn, we're going to sing a 4-part ditty that I wrote a couple days ago. It's split into bass, tenor, alto, soprano. If you don't know what part you sing, you can pick whatever you want. So I'll sing it. It runs in groups of 3. And yeah, let's just have some fun with it. So it starts with the bass part. They sing do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a, do, a, de. And then it changes. Do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a. Your turn. Do, a, de, a. Do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a, do, a, de, a. Keep it going. Do, a, de, a, 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 do, a, de, a. Zie, 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 Ziek, 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 do a de a do a de a do a de a do a de a shuddy 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 shaw 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 keep going shuddy 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 shaw shuddy 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 shaw shuddy 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 shaw shuddy 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 shaw hey Shuddy, 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 shaw, 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 shuddy, 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 shaw. One more time.
Shiny, 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 shaw. Shiny, 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 shaw.
Zia,
Shiny, shiny,
Zia,
shiny, shaw.
Zia,
Shiny, shiny,
Zia,
shiny, shaw.
Zia. Nice.
Is anyone here a believer in science?
Yes.
Yes. Me too. And I used to think that science, my favorite field, was the opposite of imagination. That it was all about facts, formulas, and strict rules you had to follow. And if I didn't go into a creative arts field, that I wouldn't be using my originality. But the more I've learned, the more I've realized that science is full of wonder. It's driven by people who imagine what the universe might be, just beyond our current understanding, and then they set out to test that vision. In that way, science and spirituality aren't so different. Both ask big questions, both lean into mystery, and both begin with the courage to imagine something more. One of the most creative acts in science is forming a theory. It starts with observations. Something doesn't quite fit, or something unexpected shows up in the data. Scientists have to imagine. Why is it happening? What might be causing it? And how does it all fit together? It's not just about collecting facts. It's about seeing connections that aren't obvious and daring to suggest new possibilities by using your imagination. Let's start with some fundamentals in science, mathematics. And a very obvious example, something called imaginary numbers. Can't get more imaginative than that. And if your high school math is a little rusty, I'll remind you there's literally a class of numbers called imaginary because by definition, they shouldn't exist. These are numbers that relate to the square root of a negative number, which is impossible. You can't multiply a number by itself and get a negative number. But mathematicians imagined what would it mean? And instead of discarding the idea, they explored it. And guess what? We got a whole new dimension of math. One which gives us the basis of a lot of formulas and analytics behind electrical engineering and signal processing. In other words, imagining the impossible gave us the tools to build the modern world, including the cell phones each of you have in your pocket. Let's think about something very basic, light. Everyone knows what light is, right? It's so ordinary we barely even notice it, yet it is full of mystery. For centuries, science couldn't agree on what light actually is. Some insisted it's a wave, like sound or water spreading smoothly through space. Others argued it behaved like particles, like photons, moving from one place to another. The strange thing is, both sides are right. Light behaves like a wave in some situations and like a particle in others. it refuses to neatly fit into one category. So no one really fully knows what light is, we just know how it acts. Something as common as sunlight pushes us into the realm of imagination, where our models are helpful, but never the full story. My most favorite examples come from outer space. Let's talk about black holes. How crazy are those? Points in the universe so dense that not even light can escape. There's physically no way to ever know what they look like inside, so we have to imagine. Even if we were to create the most advanced space probe that could stand the immense pressure, no information would be able to come out of that. Instead, we're forced to think outside the box whenever we're working with black holes. And what about the beginning of the universe? Was anyone there to witness that? I know my kids call me old. Maybe some of you can vouch that I wasn't there for the beginning of time. And to some of us, the Big Bang Theory is obvious because we've heard about it so many times, but think about the imaginative steps that were required in order to visualize that, in order for that story to be developed. Here's a cosmic twist. The universe isn't just expanding, it's expanding faster over time. That surprises scientists, since gravity should be pulling things back, slowing things down. To explain it, they imagined something invisible, dark matter and dark energy. We can't see, we can't touch it, but they seem to shape galaxies and drive expansion. These ideas remind us that sometimes science moves forward by imagining what might be out there, even when we can't prove it. My final example is something near to my expertise, computer science. But it's an application that you all use every single day. For any time you visit a website, log into your accounts, or send an email, you are sending encrypted messages. In order to encrypt something, the computer has to come up with random numbers. I know that sounds simple, but computers are so logical that coming up with something truly random is very hard. I know that sounds weird, but something as simple as flipping a coin is something a computer has a hard time with. A computer typically follows instructions you give it, so how can it do something unpredictable? Well, programmers have come up with some amazingly imaginative solutions for creating randomness. My favorite is a company called Cloudflare. At their headquarters, they have a wall of 100 lava lamps and a camera pointed at them, taking pictures every few seconds. Those pictures, those images, are just a collection of pixel values, and they then feed that into a stream of unpredictable numbers. It creates a stream of unpredictable numbers, which the servers then use to generate a secure encryption key. Who would have imagined that the randomness of lava lamps would be used in keeping your digital data safe? So now, when I think about science, I invite you, like me, not to see a dry collection of facts and formulas, but a deeply human act of imagination. Scientists wonder about things no one has seen. They play with impossible ideas, and they take mental leaps into the unknown. Similar to how we as UUs are always on our journey to understand. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we keep asking better and better questions, and we dare to imagine.
You made your dream come true.
Well, I love that. You probably all know one of the greatest imaginarians in the world of science was Albert Einstein. And he was also a violin player, did you know? And he dealt more in thought experiments than with testing. He let other people do the testing and of his ideas, which were, of course, ingenious. And whenever he got stuck with a math problem or another problem, he would go into the kitchen and he would play the violin. So I'm better at the notes than I am the science. But here's a song I wrote. I wrote it so long ago, more than a couple decades ago, called Imagining. I was still imagining the later chapters in the story of a life. Now here I am. When I was a little boy, anything could be a toy. It's easy. A pile of rocks and twigs makes a castle for a kid. It's easy. And if you want to travel far, you don't need your daddy's car. Just ride in your limousine, imagining. When I was a young man, I had no need for plans. It's easy. The world is a blank slate, a soft, wet piece of clay. It's easy. All you gotta do is go, choose any open road. Just cruising your limousine, imagining. In my gliding, flying, undenying limousine, I'm fast and strong and cool and wise as I can be. I drive circles around the dark side of my disbelief, seeking landing at a better place to be. When I was a family man, I made my solid stand. You think that's easy? With calluses and bills, a lot less time to kill in my limousine. Oh, I got no complaints. My hands are love stained, and I watch my kids go flying in their limousine. Imagining, imagining, imagining. Imagining, imagining, imagining. Imagining, imagining, imagining. When I'm an older guy, I don't spend much time crying about what might have been. Though I've known my share of loss, sorrow's not my boss, I'm not that easy. There's miles to make up with my half-boat travel. I keep on keeping on, imagining, imagining. Ooh.
Thank you. Thank you, Merlin. That was wonderful imagining. I wanted to talk about 3 words that are so intertwined, they're a little bit easy to get confused. And the first thing I did was look up Google rather than looking up the dictionary, the meanings of the first word is imagination. And I used Google because the dictionary had so many things listed, it was just too hard to say and read in this group. And Google was succinct. Imagination, the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. I'm not sure that describes my imagination because some things are present to the senses if you pay attention enough. But that was the definition. The next word is creativity, which is actually the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artist's work. Again, I don't think it's especially in production of an artist's work. I think it's any work, because work requires imagination. And the last one, this is a little less defined, is artistry, which is a creative skill or ability. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I'm just not that creative. I'm not an artist. I can't do that. But everything we do is creativity. Even if you're mimicking somebody else, you're mimicking it in your own way, and that in and of itself is creative. So I have a little project for us this morning, of course. And I'm going to start off with you guys closing your eyes. You can hold on to that for a second. If everybody, I want you to imagine something really quick with me. So if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or look down. And I want you to picture a symbol that represents you. Whether that symbol is a heart, or a flower, or a polka dot, or a triangle, or a square, or 3 little ziggly lines. Whatever that is that you imagine now, and then take it and make it into a small size. Okay, open your eyes, and here's your project. I have this special plate. It says you are special today, or today you were special.
Hold the microphone.
Thank you. And what I want you to do is I want you to take the image you just had of the thing that symbolizes yourself. So take your symbol, and it can also be your initials if that's what makes you happy and that's what symbolizes you. And I want you to take and make it the size of the pad of your first finger. And then I want you to take and draw it on this plate. Inside the, just really simple, small pattern. And in the tray here are markers specifically for plates. There's paper in the bottom if you want to scribble on it or if the ink doesn't come out right away. So you can test it, and that you can set down. That's in case I needed to read. And if we'll start at the back of the room, right over here, and just pass the tray from person to person, and I'll keep jabbering on for a little bit. So, everything we do is creative. We all have it, and it's not necessarily art. It's math, it's science, it's sports, it's all of those things. And thank you, Shane, for talking about science as imagining, because it so truly is. And so when somebody tells me they're not creative, I just go, that's not possible, because everybody creates. A number of years ago, I'm very particularly inspired by creating in groups, hence the project today. I really love watching people do that creativity. Yesterday, at an event at Amy's house, we were watercoloring, and it was less about a lesson in how to watercolor and more about a lesson in how to meditate while doing this kind of art. And I can so relate to that, because to me, when I'm working, it's meditation. A number of years ago, and some of you may have heard this story before, I was working with students at Santa Su. We had a Santa Susana High School in Simi Valley. It's a performing arts high school. And I was working on a set, And I had some artists from the art class come over because we were combining groups of like-minded things. And we were painting a woods on a wall. And I had come in about an hour earlier and gotten everything set up, and I was already painting when they came in. And they kind of straggled in one at a time, one at a time. And I explained what we were going to be working on and what we were doing. And we ended up with 7 of us, all painting at the same time in silence, because we were all so concentrating on exactly what shadow we were working on and keeping in tandem with each other. And it was very unifying, and we painted for 2.5 hours in silence. And I don't think I've had ever a better meditative experience as than sharing with these kids, basically, who understood what this means to be able to do that. And we ended up with a beautiful work of art. Some people paint shrubbery down low, other people, they were all tall, wispy trees. And it was amazing what we could get through and what we could do, imagining, creating, and being artists. And I can't tell you how much it meant yesterday for Amy to bring up the same process for me, because I don't do that so often anymore. And I miss it, and so I will be adding that into my life. And where is the plate? It's way back there. If for some reason we run out of time up here, if you will please make sure you get to it today, that would be lovely. You can even get to it another day. But I intend to hang this on the wall here at Chalice, representing all of our imaginations and our creativity and our artistry.
And touch your elbows, or put your arms around each other, or hold hands, whatever feels comfortable to you. First of all, I want to have you know that today we have our very special Bagel Buddies for the last time this congregational year. Outside there, you can support our wondrous curiosity program for children by going outside and buying bagels from the kids who've been making them for us all while we've been in service. So be sure to enjoy that after service. My friends, to quote Willy Wonka, we are the music makers and we are the dreamers of dreams. So let's dream a dream together of a better world, my friends, and let's extinguish our chalice together now, remembering always that we can dream and imagine. Please join me with the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Beloveds, go in peace. Go with love overflowing from your hearts, and let your imagination fly and transform our world. May it be so. Amen.